Interview after the interview. Now that you have looked at interview preparation and what to do during the interview, it's time to look at what happens afterwards. One common mistake interview candidates make is believing that the interview is over once they leave the employer's office. However, what happens after the interview is an equally important part of the process. First, take some time to reflect on your performance. Make notes immediately after the meeting for future reference. You can also note down the questions you were asked. It is also important to make note of anything you forgot to mention to the employer, as it can sometimes be stated in the thank you letter. It is also a good idea to do something relaxing or rewarding, as interviewing can be a stressful and exhaustive process. You should also start to plan your follow-up with the employer, as you will need to contact them again in the next 24 hours with your thank you letter. Follow-up and the thank you letter. Following up with a thank you letter is very important. Some studies suggest that only 20% of candidates do some form of follow-up, and you want to be part of that 20%. Following up not only shows consideration for the employer's time, but also that you are professional and have a keen interest in the position. The most common form of follow-up is the thank you letter and/or email. Make sure to ask for the interviewer's business card or contact information before you leave your interview. Give your thank you within 24 and at the latest 48 hours after the interview. In the past, you would mail a letter, but today it is mostly done through email. Also, be mindful of spelling and grammar so as to not leave a negative last impression. If you get turned down, asking for feedback. Even though you put a lot of effort into your interview, you may not get the position. Though this is disappointing or frustrating, you now have the opportunity to learn from the experience. If the employer happens to contact you personally, you should consider asking for feedback on your performance. If they state that they are unable to, then thank them for their time and ask them to consider you for future opportunities. A no now doesn't mean a no later. However, if they do decide to give you feedback, take this as a great learning opportunity. Ask permission to take notes on what they said, listen carefully, and do not argue or disagree on what they tell you. This is their opinion and it has value. You may also want to ask questions that you feel are important as to where your major strengths were, your weaknesses in the interview, and what suggestions they have for you for future interviews. Once their feedback is finished, thank them for their time and willingness to give you feedback. Also, ask them to remember you if future opportunities do come up. Unfortunately, rejection does happen and it may seem like the end of a journey, but this is a chance to take what has been learned and try again. Try to not let this slow down your job searching. For more information and further tips and tricks, visit us at the Career and Co-op Center. Feel free to attend one of our many workshops or even make a one-to-one appointment with our career educators.